All right, I have started the recording. Test, test. Oh, my push to talk is messed up. So I should totally check that. Should have checked my push to talk before I started recording. Okay, there we go. Recording is now functioning properly. I gotta tell you, I really like having Troy giving the recounting, just because it gets us that perspective of a first-time player in Planescapes. You don't have to if you don't want to.
I mean, I could do it again if I remember everything. It says I'm learning. Okay, are we ready to go?
Yep, recording is up. Everything's good.
Okay, cool. Let's see. So we started off recapping, essentially, not recapping, but concluding what was actually a job assignment for Tall something. Ed's character. And then we, sorry, Kagro. So we found a local cafe. We were in the lady district,
The ladies' ward, yeah.
ladies ward, on Sigil. And so we found some cafe, and some random person happened upon us, hearing about free food, and tried to get others involved in a free food escapade, which wasn't actually something that was happening. And then our chaos detect wandered off, I believe, in search of something, information. And this new, just so happens, chaos detect joined us and fit right in. It's like we never lost one. And so we had some interesting conversation and cafe stuff. And we found out information that the druid had survived, and that we could easily, or fairly easily, find stuff for him to recover if we could possibly get it to him. So we somehow, I'm not even sure how this happened. We stumbled into an alley and had some people that would help, and they opened a portal. And then we were in a market district, and this place is horribly confusing. I'm pretty sure I'm recounting it correctly, but I don't even believe it. And then so we some trading went on, and we acquired all the items needed in order to save them. And then the next effort was trying to get them to the person. So we tracked down the rest of the squirrels, and what's their names? What are they called?
Ratosk.
The Ratosks. So we tracked them down and made some deals, and then didn't even really actually own up on our deal, which was interesting. I believe we agreed to pass out pamphlets and then took the pamphlets with us. But there was never a specification of where to put the pamphlets. And then we stumbled upon a ceremonial site around what we expected a portal to be. There's just dead people on spikes. And then a traveling band of Yggdrasians or something. A bunch of Thors showed up, essentially, from my understanding. And another Ratask, and we made a deal with him to take the stuff needed through, and he did agree, and he dropped an acorn or something, and it opened up a portal. And I believe all of the Thors died, so they weren't very Thorish at all. But the Ratas vanished, and I believe we heard that he was successful in delivering the stuff. I'm not 100% on that.
All right, yeah,
And I think that's everything.
You pretty much covered it. Right on. So, meanwhile, back in the cities, so it's been a busy week since you guys gathered together to send out your champions on this deep strike mission to try and close the demonic portal. In that time period, you've gotten occasional reports. They were only down there for less than a day when you got a report that they had caused a cave-in to prevent diggers from digging through the tunnels. While you waited for them to make their way to the capital city, the king of Danuin has been busy. He's gone into a certain magical trance in which he is channeling a very powerful spell that is allowing the portal to Danuin to open in more than just Corinth, enabling rapid transit between your cities. He's doing this because travel through the roads has become nearly impossible. Pretty much every city has an army sieging it, and while these armies are not perfect yet, reinforcements are coming and the roads are patrolled, and the patrols are now covered in these sort of yellow glowing runes on their skin. So yeah, the druids have been telling people that the runes are demonic in nature and are protecting them against fire attacks. And so, yeah, there's a great deal of concern as to what to do next. But that's why you guys are kings. It's up to you guys to decide what to do next. The Wandering Rut has not currently been pinned down by the Wandering armies, who are mostly getting lost in the wastes. So you have the only city that's currently not under siege. Danuin is capable of opening the portal there, though. So you guys can reinforce to the Wandering Rut if you do need a way out.
Nice.
Within Lome Firma, which is closest to the now collapsed tunnels of the egress point, he also is able to open a portal at the embassy. So that there is access there if you guys need it, but you guys are more than likely safe behind your walls since your city has sunken back into the ground. There was a brief attempt to open a portal at the Great Tree, but the Great Tree itself was never defended, and so they came upon a battlefield. Yeah, there is basically a non-stop perpetual patrol there. Some group of the Imperial Army is just stationed there, killing anybody that comes out of a portal. And then as you gather together in the forests of Danuin, in relative safety, there suddenly appears one of the druids missing an arm and a leg. Panic arises, and he's carrying the severed head and partial spine of one of the heroes that was sent down to try and close the portal. It rapidly becomes clear that the portal mission was a failure. It's assumed that everyone is dead until the pin starts writing from the magical book that shares words between the druids. It turns out that the apprentice, the scholar that the druids had sent with him, survived somehow and went through a portal with some of the other apprentices and squires and such, and that they have gone to some mystical realm or an incredible drug trip. It's hard to tell from her writing. She's describing impossible things. Messages are eventually penned to her about the fate of the man that's lying here dying, The druids have been unable to heal his wounds due to demonic fire being within his body. And just when it seemed all hope was lost and he was about to burn away completely, a squirrel appeared with magical healing elixirs and rescued his life. It is now up to you guys what to write back to the scholar who has apparently sent help from this mystical, magical otherworld. You guys are basically sitting around a campfire in a forest, but it's not really a forest. It's just a little demi-plane near a portal. Nothing can get to you here, so you guys are safe. There's some other druids and some citizens from Corinth are present here. And, yeah. What do you guys want to do? Ed, if you wish, you may play as one of the surviving raccoon people, one of the surviving thefts.
Okay.
So they found themselves in a strange world with many different people there.
Yes. The scale of the structure she's describing is impossible. She's talking about staircases that go all the way to the moon. Yeah, cities that are the size of this entire valley, wrapped in a ring around itself. She describes a tree that is taller than a mountain, and in fact seems to grow from mountains and touch the sky itself, where the branches are the size of great rivers.
So all of our kings are there at this meeting location right now?
Yep. It's a safe meeting location. The only king who is missing, he's not entirely missing, he's there, but he's not responsive, is the king of Danuin itself, who is in a magical trance maintaining the portals to each of your nations.
So, as a leader of the nomadic tribe, I kind of, have no direct thing that I necessarily need to be protecting. And the waste are kind of the waste. It's how they always are. It's not like demons in it are going to really do anything. So, it occurs to me that if this place is getting overrun and is just going to keep getting overrun, that we may want to go to wherever this mystical help is coming from. Just evacuate.
Either that, or if the demons have also come from this area, from the area, there also might be other creatures that despise demons that might want to help us with this. The enemy of our enemy is our friend, after all.
That's true. But instead of just recruiting, or instead of trying to spend time recruiting people, just straight up evacuation, and then we don't have to worry about losing countless people.
Are you asking me to abandon Runeterra?
Hey, I'm just telling you where my thought process is. You can do what you want with your city.
The second in command of the druids, who has sort of taken charge since his king has gone into the trance, actually seems to kind of like the idea. He comments that, evacuating here has worked. Why not evacuate there? If it is a realm of gods or monsters, it is at least a place that's safe from this empire, which seems rooted entirely in this place. But the logistics would be incredibly challenging. It seems that they only just barely managed to escape through a portal at the Imperial capital. I somehow doubt the Empire would let us just stroll a bunch of refugees up to that portal and walk in.
Is the Ratas still here?
Yes.
Yeah, didn't he come from a portal that leads to the magical place?
Yeah, we address him and ask, like, have we asked how he got there? Like, I don't think so. Ask, how did you get here?
He chitters and says, "Of course, all information can be had for the right price."
And what is that price?
He looks around. What are the raccoons trading in right now?
Whatever we have, sticks. If we still have some chickens left, we're trading in chickens or eggs. We view this entire thing as basically like a. We've seen this sort of stuff before. We view the whole thing as a natural disaster.
He picks up an egg, pockets it, and says, "I came through the world's tree, Yggdrasil. It connects all places. Its roots touch every mountain. Its branches touch every world." Oh, and the one who sent me, the scholar lady, she gave me a map.
Well, there you go.
Okay, on this map, where did you arrive?
It looks like from the map that the scholar had drawn a line from the strange tree that was once the capital of the theft society, and it has a very efficient path from there to Corinth. So he most likely came through the tree.
I'm used to trees. Does the world tree have problems like this one? The animals are going insane on this planet.
There's problems everywhere you look. If you're looking for problems, they're easy to find. But most folk prefer to not have problems. The tree has many branches.
Is that the tree that was like undefended and guards are like killing people if they come out of portals there now?
The Empire is guarding it. Yeah, there's basically no civilization left there. The Empire has completely occupied it and is guarding a portal. There were bodies,
Well,
as though somebody. Oh, I guess you wouldn't necessarily know about that. Yeah, the Ratas tells you basically how he got through. Brave warriors came through. They died to a man. But they bought me the time to sneak past the guards and deliver the message and the medicine.
yeah. There also is also a possible if there's a really wanted to go somewhere, there is a possible link in my city. There was a necromancer who traveled to a different plane. There might be a spark of it left.
True. Or if they only have like a guard force at that tree that took out like a small group of adventurers, but someone was able to get through, then entire armies, like combined, might be able to overpower them and get access to that portal.
Did I hear him right? Did he say he? And I'm saying this to everybody. Did he say one person stopped all of them? And that may be a question for you, Dave.
The Ratas says, no, it was a great battle. Many people on both sides, many fought, but they died to a man, meaning none survived.
Oh, okay.
Every last man that came through with me to help me reach you has perished.
And how many men would you say this was?
He looks down at his paws, and then he holds up a number. He says, this, and then multiplied by this. There were a fair number of fingers and claws in that pile. You're guessing maybe close to 100.
Yeah, I mean, if you think that there's a portal in your blood city that might be able to be accessed, How does the Ratask plan on getting back?
Oh, I can go back anytime I want, but I won't be able to get back here again. It's a one-way trip for me.
How are you going to do it?
I'll walk the tree.
So it's like a personal thing for him that he's going to do that doesn't work for anybody else? Or like, because I don't know, walk the tree. I don't know what that means.
The Ratask appears to be busy exchanging things with the raccoons.
Or take it he meant he'll just come back the way he came.
Well, and get
He didn't seem to
killed
have
by
trouble
him.
getting here in the first place.
Oh no, he says. Great trouble. Many men died to bring me this. It's going home that's easy.
It kind of sounds like if he has access to the tree, and we already have druids like opening up portals and stuff, like if they could also somehow replicate like what he might be doing to open a portal there, or get close to it at least.
The second in command of the druids sort of chimes in. He says, perhaps we should all consider what an evacuation means. I'm for it, but I am a druid and am used to a nomadic life. Even here in Danuin, we sort of come and go as we please. I would hear from the representative from Corinth on how your people feel about packing up everything and moving to this new area, this new land. And everyone else too. If everyone could chime in on whether or not they're willing to relocate their entire population.
Have I had I can't remember already. Did I have any occurrence of them getting into my
Any
like
occurrence
has
of...
there been any scares of them finding my stuff?
No.
I speak up and say, like, as much as this is a troubling time and evacuation seems like a way to go, we know not where we're going, and I don't think I can't imagine the strain it would put on my people.
I agree. These have been our lands for many generations. We know the ins and outs of it. This demon army does not know the lands that we do. We should not run away from just the beginning of the onslaught. We are the leaders, and we must follow by example and defend our lands. Most of the nomadic people of the wastelands want to run with their tails between their legs.
Run. Like, my king looks to one of the like the random guards that he has with him. Probably, I'm assuming that they've been listening to the conversation also. He looks at him and he goes, you know, we do have a lot of memories, and our entire culture was in the wastelands, and the guard guy's like, yeah, you know, the family's there and stuff. Well, so it looks like our options are a super mega ultra, probably everybody's going to die, battle to demons that we can't even use fire against, or travel to a new mystic land full of treasure and adventure. Which one do you want? He's like, I probably treasure and adventure, because I like those anyway. Yeah, no, me too. It's not running to us. It's more profit.
And do not forget that my people are not are not flame. We do not have this flame weapon, but we do deal with blood, and from what I've heard, they can bleed, so we can use this as well.
Yes, my my land knows very much about your vampire kind. As you have all no doubt been converted by the original vampire that we first scouted by now.
I think it's safe to say that they have not been, considering they hide like us.
The Danuans seemed willing to help in either plan. They're more concerned with the lives of the people than the land itself. If the people intend to stay, then they'll stay to help protect them as best they can. If the people are going to go, then they'll help them to travel. As long as a reasonable plan for getting there can be worked out.
If all hope fails, we can always fall back to the city of Runeterra, and with the combination of blood mages and druids, find the portal, or even currently look for a potential portal. So if this happens, we can all travel to Runeterra and go through there. That will have the least resistance compared to the tree.
But do you know where that portal goes? You sent someone through, correct?
Yes, the necromancer.
Wasn't he an enemy?
He wasn't an enemy to me.
I seem to remember it causing quite a upset.
No, I blame the outsiders that came there to try to take my possession away.
I mean, in any case, even if we do decide to leave or defend or whatever, it looks like there's going to be some kind of battle, because regardless of which path we choose to do the research in, I mean, unless, like you said, we just go to the Blood City and try to find it there, but it makes me think that, like, if the suspected vampire guy had access to that in the first place, then he probably already knows where it is. So even if we found it, we may still encounter his forces. So, I mean, in any case, we can start off with research and just be ready for battle, is my take.
I think that is a good plan. We do not confront the demons. This is a terrible idea. We should. I look to the book to see if it's writing or anything. I'm assuming. I feel we should take advantage of that interesting book and see what the others can find out if they're on the other side of this.
The druid brings the book over and places it on the stump in the middle of your meeting ground. Open to its most recent page, the last thing written in it is "Your orders, my lord?" ?
I know we were trying at the beginning saying, like, figure out what we need to send. I feel we should ask if they've learned anything from their side, like of why this is even happening.
The animals came to trade, and they trade for our lives. They value our lives, and they wish to trade for them. The problem is that if you take someone's life, they can't receive anything in return. It's a valid trade, but not a good trade. We've experienced this before. Before we moved to the strange tree, a great wave came, and it also didn't understand how to trade. not a beneficial thing. Potentially beneficial for the wave, but not beneficial for the Kashak. So the Kashak moved to the tree. This weather condition is not beneficial for the Kashak, and so the Kashak will move to the new tree with the squirrel, if it is possible.
The squirrel eyes the raccoons up and down, says, there may be a place for your kind of trade on the great tree. Many branches could do with it.
I say, understand, Squirrel. The Kashak are not great warriors, but the Kashak do value our lives greatly, and so it is a great trade. We understand why the weird demon animals wish to have our lives. They are very valued.
Well, if we can find a way to bring you to the world's tree, I'm certain you will find much trade present there.
We would like this. We do not wish to trade our lives entirely, though the animals do value. It is like the chickens have taught us. If you trade the chicken, it will not produce any more eggs, and its trading is done. Better to preserve the chicken, so it can continue to trade.
Squirrel says, then it is settled. I shall return to the tree with one of these, the thefts. You call yourself the Kashak?
The Kashak. We are the Kashak of the Strange Tree. I believe that name will still continue to be relevant.
Choose from among you, then, a representative to travel with me, and we shall leave at once. Unless, of course, there's anything that you gentlemen need me to carry. I have promised to take one gift from you back to your little book-writing scholar.
Is it only one gift? Oh, wait, never mind.
Worry not, I'm amenable. Perhaps your gift is a bag. The bag may contain various things, but I will deliver the bag, whole and complete.
But I don't think I have anything. But if other people have something, they can send.
Shit. It's too bad nobody on this side has a bag of holding, otherwise this could be really easily fixed. I do like abusing those things.
Aren't you not supposed to put like people on those?
Well, I mean, we travel through portals. My guy has a bag. We haven't died yet, so I think it becomes a problem when you try to place an actual portal inside the bag. Then things get screwy.
Or a bag in a bag?
Yeah.
Can we send a note in the book to have the people over there on the tree to go get a weapon instead of medicine?
Or a bag.
We're sending the stuff to them. We want
Yeah,
them to send stuff back. Why do we want them to give us a bag so we can send them a bag back?
Well, I don't think they can send anything to us. I believe it's just
They brought
us
us
sending
medicine.
something to. I think that was a one-time dealie, and this is another one-time dealie.
Yeah. I was just saying how, too bad we didn't have one of the
Yeah.
Oh, so they can't ever come back here? So why does it matter if we send them messages in the book?
Well, I think it's just the squirrel, correct? You can only go back. There's not a way for you to return or for them to return.
The squirrel nods and says, I can go back freely, and I can take one with me. I will take this raccoon. I can also carry items, for I have arms. I have agreed to carry one such item for you, but I will not be returning. This was too dangerous and too great a loss. It was fortunate that I found...
Didn't the squirrel come through with an army of 100 soldiers?
Yes.
So instead of a squirrel and soldiers, couldn't our people just come back with their weapon the same way?
Yeah, but all of those men died.
But our people will have a weapon to fight these guys.
I mean, yeah, we can simply send a message along the parchment like you're saying, but
Yes,
they
but
need
if
to
they're
acquire some weapon and fight their way back.
Yes, if they'll go get a weapon that'll help us, then I will give them my fireball weapon instead of me using the fireball weapon here, which does us.
I believe they have many, right, of those?
Oh yeah, no, like Danuin has like racks of them for where normal militaries would have a rack of spears and shields. They have a rack of fireball wands.
Okay, so just send them a rack of, in a bag, as many of those fireball rods as they can, and that should help. Mass produce the things. Then does anybody else have anything to send? He's so gracious to take a bag.
Troy, go ahead and make some kind of perception check here.
Perception check?
Yeah, let's see. I'm going to call this a perception plus, or it could arguably be empathy plus propriety. Alternatively, you could use crime in place of propriety for this one.
Empathy and propriety?
You could do that.
I'm not entirely sure what you're having me do. I'm just trying to roll something.
Yeah, hypothetically, another thing we might be able to do is find our most valuable thing or something that has value. Have the squirrel take it back to the party, and in the message in the book, write to the scholar and tell them that we're looking for mass transit transportation between where we are and where they are for some of the people that want to do that route, and to use the valuable item to see if they can acquire means of, either getting that information or, an item or something that could allow for something like that.
Hey Ed, can you wake up Uther?
Yeah, sure.
What do the druids need to make portals?
At the moment, the Druid King is in a basically continuous concentrated meditation, but he's only making portals to other places here in the valley. The Druids do not know how to make portals to whatever this other place is that their people have accidentally stumbled into. In truth, they never knew it existed to begin with. This is a first.
Yeah, I think, the only thing that we knew about was about the necromancer who went to some weird other place that was not from this plane. But yeah, I know I'll be offering a bag of questionable origins, along with several things of the blood wine, plus some scripture, some of the more unique scripture that I have, as well as a pint of my blood for trades.
It's a empathy and propriety roll.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, next time in session.
Where did I do it? I did it in
Talus.
Talus.
Talus does not show up on the recording. I only have a window for session on the recording.
Can I do that?
Oh, there you go. Wow. All right.
You copy paste it.
You killed it. Yeah, so the Ratosk said that if you fill the bag with things, he will guarantee that the bag will arrive, implying directly that he will take whatever he wants from the things that are in the bag.
Got it. So we can send one thing with the squirrel.
One thing reliably, otherwise you are you are basically rolling the dice on whether or not he wants to take whatever you put in the bag.
I see. Okay, so we can send one thing to aid them. I'll relay my understanding of this now with everyone else. That I see I was misunderstanding before. We can send one thing to aid. We do have the fire sticks, which are quite useful as we've seen them. Does anybody else have anything that would be more useful to send? I agree we should ask them to find something in the means of transit and or weaponry to bring back to us. But we should aid them as much as we can.
The Danuan druid says, I believe someone suggested sending them an item of great value for trade, but do we know what would be of value to trade among the people of this strange city they're in?
Well,
Squirrel-like egg.
They
we have
acquired
eggs, and we have
these.
many chickens. We can bring them.
They acquired these magical items. We could ask them what they traded for.
You never know what a trader wishes. There's a legend of the great shrewd traders down in the village that we used to live next to. When you entered their shop, they would look at you, and then they would say, "Get out of my house." And you would stand around and browse, and then they would give you food. They were shrewd traders.
let's see. Squirrel Man, you know exactly what kind of stuff is valuable in that plane. Would you be able to give us some kind of inclination of what might be considered of great value there?
So, before the squirrel answers, you do get a response back from your question that you wrote into the book of what they traded. She traded a magical cloak. This apparently gets sort of a gasp from the druids, as that was a really important and powerful gift they had given her to help her on the journey. And she says that her friends also contributed some money in trade. Gold appears to actually have a value there, just like everywhere else, as does silver and copper that she's witnessed. But yeah, the magically enchanted items seem to carry the most value. As such, the Wand of Fireballs may not be such a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, that might be great. I have something I could send, but it would probably be of equal value of that, if not less so. And you have much more of your object than I do of mine.
I'm fairly
Like,
certain,
hold
like
my cane and spin it.
fairly certain, way back in the beginning, I had acquired like a rod of chicken summoning that had caused some.
Yes, you had. You still possess it.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not on my thing. I swear I wrote it on here.
It should be on the character sheet for your city.
Yeah,
Might have moved it around.
Yeah, I mean, I offer that. I mean, who knows when you need to summon a good chicken?
Indeed, that is a fine gift.
Well, to y'all, yeah, it'd be like
A king's gift.
That'll be like a never-ending egg trading thing there.
I do have a question. Will our little raccoon buddy here be meeting the group on the other side as well? Will he be accompanying you to give whatever we are giving to you to them?
The Ratas shrugs and says, he can visit whoever he wants. Once he walks the tree, its branches go everywhere. In regards to your question as to what I value, there are many things I value, but I am no rascal. I will only trade fair, and since I know I can't be coming back to you, I cannot bring you messages, whispers, information, or even delicious fruits. But I can tell you what I know, if you wish to pay me something. I can only tell you what I know right now. not what I can find out. As, again, I've got no way to bring it back to you. What you got in trade?
Trying to think here. I'm trying to figure out actually how I'm going to be using Eldritch Court to be able to ascertain something that he might want. Because I know several people on this plane that might be able to hook you up. Potentially find back doors to here.
More doors might be of use if your plane doesn't burn down. You got B's and T's for days.
B's and T's?
Sip, sip, buzz, buzz. Little T, little B. Sorry, course, you're confused. I mean to say that your entire world will burn. Or maybe you'll get acid. Don't know for sure. Can never tell with these fellas.
Yeah.
I feel bad for you, of course, but, you know, I got a business to run back home.
Of course.
My cousin sells apples.
Yeah. I currently cannot think of anything to trade at this time without making contacts in the court.
Don't want you to feel like I'm too casual about this. Just sort of my nature. My other cousin, the one who was visiting your world, trading with your raccoon people, he died for doing that. Bees took him to a pike. That ain't nothing a squirrel can do to stop the buzzing.
Oh yeah, the party. We found that guy.
Those of you with high empathy scores may detect a note of sadness in the squirrel's eyes.
Why can you not return?
Return here? The danger.
Well, that's not a why.
Oh, why the danger?
One could return.
Sure. One could return and die. That's an option. Pay a life. I don't know a life. I owe one gift transported and one person given access. Which is within my means, though just barely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else I would need to ask him. I just offer up the wand as like the item that they could maybe sell for information or whatever, or means for mass travel, either one.
We should send the person that is most likely, or send the person or animal that is most likely to return and collect more animals.
Okay.
This is simply a sensible trade.
He would take any one person that's guaranteed in the trade.
So I promised.
The leader of the demon.
Doubt he'd come with me. Plus, I burned my hand trying to hold his.
Yeah, it's just a squirrel. He's not like a godly being that can, like, you know, bind the demon and then drag it through the portal.
Yeah, this guy isn't really supernatural. He's just, he's a 3-foot-tall squirrel person wearing a vest. But, yeah, it's... Yeah. And he says, besides, my deal wasn't written on paper. It's just a handshake. Verbal deal. I'm not crazy. Not going to do nothing stupid. Them TikToks, they'll follow any deal they make to the letter. I ain't like that. But I'm a nice guy. Gonna try and do right by you.
Trying to figure out exactly what to trade, because I want to see if do we have it. I was curious. Do we have any kind of symbols besides having the star map of the dying god underneath my city? Is there some kind?
You do have the star map, which was a pretty valuable and important find, at least from an information standpoint. You also have freely distributed it amongst all of your citizens, so you're not certain of how much of a secret it is anymore. But you went to great lengths to acquire it, and it was definitely hidden knowledge before you unlocked it.
I do have a map of the stars here that is for trade for involves the secrets of a dying god on this plane that if we're able to bring him back into a more fit state, he might be able to push off the demons off the land. But I need to find out more information about him.
He sniffs the paper, kind of jumps out of start. A lot of information here, more than I can read. Good trade. What would you like for it?
I know that you can't come back here to give information. But if you find any information and you encounter our party, the party on the other side, would you be able to give them the information? Because then they can send us the information.
Yeah, that's fair trade. What would you like me to find for them?
I need to find out the name of this god and exactly what he is the god of. A potential and potentially anything that might help a divine being heal.
All right, a graybeard I'll find.
I hadn't thought about that, but that is a hypothetically very good or very bad option as like a number 3. Instead of fighting demons, instead of evacuating the planet, activate a god that may or may not give a shit, and then see get him to do something about demons.
We still have to find the what was his name again? The guy that was in this druid city for a while, but
his name was Uthalor, and your intel was that he was the last believer of this god. As far as anyone can tell, he exploded over by the dam that was holding back the river in an attempt to stop the demon invasion from coming through. Since then, the god has accelerated its decay, indicating that it may, in fact, be truly dead now.
So if I were able to find the information of who this god is and stuff, there's a potential that I might be able to actually form a blood link with the god to actually become the new believer. Because God always needs a follower.
I'd say it can't hurt to try, but it is blood magic.
And if the worst comes to shove, I can always have a reanimated undead god to wipe out the demons.
All right, then. So the squirrel is going to take... he's taken the map of the stars in trade for finding out the name of the god for you and delivering it to your people. He is taking, I believe, one of the theft traders. Have they elected a new dirty theft?
You don't really get elected as a dirty theft. You're just a general theft, and then it's
do
a
something
title
amazing.
that's bestowed upon you.
All right, well, a brave theft, be it dirty theft or not, will journey with him. So his left hand and his pockets are full. His right hand is still empty. What would you like to place in it?
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, if nobody's got anything better, I guess I've got the chicken rod. Unless somebody else wants to give up something like enchanted.
Danwin is more than happy to give him a fire wand.
I think that will cover it. I think that's the best thing we have.
Yeah, and I will also hand a bag of bottles of blood wine to the dirty theft that's going with them. I would like you to trade these with the party so that they may trade, so they may learn from your trade and be able to use these to trade in the new world.
What are you giving me?
I'm giving you a bag with a bunch of blood wine.
Oh, hold on. So the squirrel dude will only carry so much, but he's taking a theft now, and the theft could carry more. But then again, he's a theft, so he's going to trade too.
That's why I did not suggest this earlier.
I will. It's like, if you wish to offer goods for trade, I will happily trade them on my path to the new tree. I assure you, if the things that you give me do not make it to the people that you're intending them for, it is no matter, for they will have something of much greater value as I trade them for more valuable.
Huh. Well, it's a stretch. If this blood wine gives something better for them, then.
Because my only thing is like, so if that land, because we don't know anything about the crazy land that the adventurers are at, right? But we do know that they have such riches as like some potion that could stop demon fire that we could never get that. Now, if they have access to potions like that, just handing them like a basic fire wand, I don't know how like valuable that's going to be, but just because the chicken rod is like kind of out there, so it's like I don't know how many people would actually have that. So I just think that they may have a better time, of something like that. We could maybe, because and there's a bajillion of these fire rods at this city, right? They all have one. That's what they use for basic infantry. So, like I said, we should probably give the chicken one to the squirrel that'll guaranteed get it to the party and see what they can do with it. And then if you want, give the theft like some fire wands and see what he does with them.
You're gonna give my raccoon a bunch of fire wands?
Well, he's just gonna give it. Not like he's gonna be blowing stuff away.
This is just gonna be great.
Here, go hand these out.
I'm just so happy that the phrase, I think we should give the chicken rod to the squirrel, ended up in a campaign. That just makes my day.
Yeah, I just imagine the poor situation where the demons are besieging their city. All of a sudden, they pull out fire wands. Of like, how do they get fire wands? Just like it cuts back to a scene where there's a dirty theft just putting one into one of the guy's pockets as he's walking by.
They're immune to fire too, so they've just been poking him and shooting at each other like, ha 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 ha, it doesn't do anything.
But yeah, I think blood. Yeah, like looking at blood wine and the fire wands to the dirty theft. Whatever actually reaches the party will reach it.
Yeah, and then
Just gonna give
and
me a
then we
bag full of
communicate,
nukes.
and then we can communicate that to the party via the book, and just let them know that they're guaranteed to get this, and they're hopeful to get these other things. But if not, the theft will probably give them something.
All right. Yeah, I presume you're giving him the chicken rod to give to the party.
The
Is that correct?
squirrel. Yeah.
Okay. So the chicken rod is guaranteed to arrive, and yeah, and you'll see what else happens. The Ratosk walks up to one of the many trees that surrounds you guys in this demiplane, and the roots of the tree begin to writhe and curl and open up, forming a sort of makeshift archway. And he walks into the archway with the raccoon, and they disappear. The roots at this point then sort of shrink and wither down and return to being a normal tree. Meanwhile, in the City of Doors, having received, I guess, instructions to do what you can to find a weapon.
I'll say we relayed kind of the exchange that occurred on like what we're sending them, and then and everyone can agree the request was try to find a weapon to help us, and also try to find a way to us, like a way for us to travel if we need to.
Yeah, I imagine that we would have given them a synopsis of basically all three possible plans. The third one, there's nothing they have to do. They're just going to receive information potentially from the squirrel when he finds it about the god that they can relay. So they don't have to do anything about the third option, but the other two is, either mass transit or weapons.
So the three plans are: 1. Arm yourselves with magical weapons from the other world to defeat the demons. 2. Evacuate into the other world and start a new life as refugees. Or 3. Wake up a god and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when it comes to when it says try to find trade for weapons, I think we should also do weapons / allies against the demons. Because one weapon won't do anything, but many weapons in the form of people that know how to use them might also help.
We're going to wake up this god. Was his name? Was his name they put on here Cthulhu? Cthulhu? Yeah, we'll just wake up Cthulhu and see what happens. Hey, does that guy have an octopus for a face? Oh my god!
Okay, let's see. Why can't I find the good map right now? Here we go. All right. So you've received this message. You guys are currently in the market ward. It's as you've seen before. It is just a vast open air market. Vast in ways that are sometimes difficult to comprehend. There are little islands of buildings that appear to just be more shops that are somewhat more permanent than all the tents. But navigation here, the whole place is just a giant maze. You've seen cities that are smaller than this marketplace. As you look towards the sides of the city, as opposed to the sort of continuous loop of its Halo-style construction, you see too that the city kind of rises like steps, and on these steps the market continues on bridges between buildings, just tents and vendors everywhere.
So it's the biggest market I've ever seen.
It is the largest market you've ever seen.
Alright.
The market itself. Oh, this is not the Dirt of Theft, by the way. This is the other part. We'll get to that stuff in a bit.
Okay, sorry.
You're back to being Tal.
Tal.
Yeah. These are the apprentices, the squires. Yeah, Chris is his chaos attack. Yeah. And you guys are basically walking around putting up flyers. You've been doing so for the past hour. The writing in the book has been giving you some updates as to the deliberations going on back home. And then, as you put up the final flyer, the Ratask who had tasked you with that appears before you and hands you a magical staff. I think he's handing it specifically to Loken. I met your people. We made a good trade, which I need to go take care of. But I have acquired this staff, which I was told to give to you. And thus concludes our deal. I see you've put up the flyers. Thank you.
Well, yes. Well, a deal is a deal.
Indeed. He looks around and goes, huh, there was someone else with me. I may have left him back at the tree. I'm sure he'll be fine, though.
And that's how the Norse gods got nukes.
We shall see.
Actually, the Kashakal work out pretty well in Newsguard.
Yeah, they're of the right mindset.
Oh man, now I would just see like a Odin getting underpowered, and he like looks in the pool, and there's like an egg just sitting where his eye used to be.
There's some gods they'll get along better with than others, but yeah. So yeah, having been given this wand, which you're in the book, your superiors have described it as a rod that summons chickens magically. Yeah, and you have your tasks. Your missions 3. For the planers in the party, these two primes, they're going to need a kit. They're going to have to find someplace to stay. They don't have a source of income, and so staying in inns and taverns is going to run them dry fast. They've got no steady work. The best bet is to take them to a faction. I know you all have your preferences as to which faction to take them.
There's always people looking for workers at the forge. Crafters of weapons, equipment, as well as ideas.
The forge is an important centerpiece of the city. The law offices always need clerks. The prisons always need guards. And the mercy killers need... Yeah, I don't know what they need. But yeah, there are many things.
Probably alibis.
The chaos attacks always need more chaos.
Mara kind of looks at her hands in her frame and says, I don't think I was cut out to work in a foundry, but a place of books and learning, I might be able to do some work as a file clerk.
Then you would want the courts.
There's probably some books in the chaos attacks area.
That would imply that they read.
I mean, it is one of the items that could possibly be in the chaos, just saying.
Well, technically, if you're interested in books, there are really two places that you can go. I could take you to the courts. The courts are interesting. There are a large number of books there. A pretty good set of information, and good information to browse. That said, if you're really interested in books, the Hall of Records might be the place where you're most suited. That has all of the records of the city. Property, ownership, everything. The history of the city. It's all kept quite well. The Fated run the Hall of Records. It's an interesting group.
This is what's their deal? Why do they call themselves the Fated?
Well, they believe that they... the Fated... it's somewhat complicated. But for the most part, they believe that you get what you're owed, I guess. That's the good side. And you earn what you get, which I guess is also a good side.
Seem like reasonable assertions, I guess.
We do a lot of work with the Fated in the courts. They bring a lot of suits in. That's pretty much what they do, is they bring suits in. They do that a lot.
Well, it sounds like both options would suit me. But I think I should stay close to Loken if possible. Loken, where were you thinking of going?
I don't think I should be anywhere near books. I'll probably just ruin them. So it puts us at a little odds and ends here. I can work. I assume. I don't really know what work's like out here.
Well, that's the perfect mentality to have with the chaos attacks. We don't know what anything is anywhere at any given moment.
I can also feel I don't understand all this faction talk, but I can feel all of you pulling us in those directions.
There's no need to join a faction. There are a number of sects. I fell into the faction that I'm a member of because they're right.
You could just never take a faction ever, but if you go for a really long time, things get pointy.
I'm not ready to join a faction, but if Loken can't find work, I can take a job at the Hall of Records. It seems like their philosophy is that they'll pay me, so that seems positive, and perhaps I can sneak into places to get good information while I'm working.
You sound like an excellent Fated.
She shrugs. I guess I'll find out what that means.
Do the work, and they will pay you. Also, if you have extra time and you sneak in and find things, then you deserve to find them.
So they won't be mad that I'm sneaking around finding things?
You may get a promotion.
As convenient as that is for me, I'm not sure that I approve necessarily. I certainly wouldn't run a faction of mine that way. But if it gets the work done, that's what we need, for the greater good.
One doesn't join a faction. One is already a member of a faction. You just have to find which one fits.
Well, since we have to, once one of our objectives is to find a great weapon, I believe our first stop would be the foundry, because that's where all the greatest weapons are forged in all of Sigil.
Oh, no. The greatest weapons are forged in the armory. If you want weapons, we go to the armory. I'm not well liked in the armory, but I'll show you where it is.
To say the least.
If you need hinges, the foundry is the place to go. But if you need weapons, that's really all they have at the armory. Lots and lots and lots of weapons. And they have some sort of skinless bug. It's apparently a sight to see.
I mean, aside from that, this sounds like where we need to go. What kind of... I don't know what to call... beings run the...
The Doom Guard runs the armory. My faction does not get along with the Doom Guard. That said, I have no issues with them. Personally. My faction has attempted to, or the scholars that I've worked with have attempted to convince me that they're kind of antithetical to what we believe and that they're all completely wrong. But the Doom Guard simply believes that everything decays. And that this state of the year, the end state of the universe is just one of constant decay and entropy.
Chaos and Texan and Doomguard, how do they feel about each other?
About the way that everybody feels about the Chaos Texan.
Yeah, the Doom Guard don't believe in chaos. They believe in entropy, which a lot of people get confused between. It's not just like, oh, crazy things getting smashed because I'm a crazy person. It's like, it's a belief that the universe is in a constant downward spiral, that there is always less than there was the day before. And in that respect, there's a kind of order to it that may be antithetical to your belief system.
They have interesting views, and there are people of some of my people, particularly those people that live around Void, that kind of are happy with them, and think that that's the case. As someone that's not from Void, I'm actually closer to energy. That's where I grew up. In any case, it's pretty obvious that like the water doesn't really decay; it just changes, and there's always the same amount of water. There's an infinite amount of water. I mean, there's an infinite amount of fire as well, but there's always an infinite amount of water and fire. They've got it a little bit wrong. They think that they found a rule, and it's a good rule, and it's a reasonable rule, a reasonable hypothesis. But if they did any sort of research, they would immediately discover that just reality doesn't work. There's always an infinite amount of everything. That said, they do like to break stuff. So if you're interested in breaking stuff, they're very good at that. And they have some of the best weapons to break stuff with. So if we need weapons, that's the place to go.
Like, if characters are like well into their faction, do the factions do they usually just stay away from each other, or do they know about each other? Basically, so it's like my character is Chaos Attack. He's got a lot of faction stuff. Uh, previous characters had other, also had deep factions with their own factions. Like, would they have ever had any kind of like meetups or anything like that?
I mean, if you're asking about a specific character, we can roll some connections and test for that. But in general, most people do wear their faction logo somewhere on their clothing in a really obvious position, sort of announce to the world who they are. So people aren't really like keeping their faction a secret from each other. Um, most factions do have regular meetups. They have sort of levels within the faction, and then the upper levels are supposed to help guide and offer advice and help to the lower levels of the faction. But at the same time, you're a Chaos Attack. Your faction is chaos. It is crazy town. Sometimes they all band together in a big group and paint a statue pink for no reason and then disband and don't see each other for a year. It's just, yeah, totally unpredictable madness.
Well,
Yeah,
I meant more.
Two of the last things that you guys did or two of the last major organizations, well, there were three that I remember. One of them, they painted the prison overnight. They tried to build the spoke. That was my favorite.
The Great Spoke.
And the most terrifying one was apparently like basically for about a week, all the Chaos Attacks just acted like normal people. And everyone was extremely concerned.
Well, I was thinking more like cross faction. Do they ever like have cross faction meetups for any other reason, or is it pretty much just to stay away from everybody?
All of the factions meet the Hall of Speakers, right?
Yeah. So. Every day, in fact.
Yeah, I mean the factions run the government of Sigil, so.
So there's a chance that basically my guy could have at one point rubbed shoulders with, the big bad bug.
Oh yeah, you growing up in the city, you may have heard of him.
Yeah, it's important. It's important to note that the Lady of Pain allows the factions to exist and manage the city, and so the factions get along to keep the city from falling apart, because otherwise the Lady of Pain would be displeased. It's a really good motivator.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if my guy would know about him, then I'll say, yeah, some of the weapons that we can get at the foundry may not even be made of steel. It's maybe some biological weapons that could help us take out this demon scourge.
All right. So are you guys heading to the to the armory? Is that the plan?
I think it's a good idea. Do we have? I guess we have a way of trade, technically. So I was gonna say, do we actually have anything of value to the armorers?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know that this will go along, and I'm holding this rod, and I'm like, I don't know what this will.
Yeah, don't you also have the spear as well, just in case?
I do, but I don't know how valuable it is. I guess we'll find out. Can we go to the armor? Is it far? Or not far, but still take long? I don't understand.
All right, so you guys are currently in the market ward. The armory is at the border between the ladies' ward and the lower ward. So you could spend a few days a couple days walking to the edge of the market ward, and then about like 3 or 4 more days getting across the ladies' ward. So I'd say you'd be there inside of a week if you walk.
If it's still active, we saw the way of getting into the ladies' ward. There was the one that the guy walked the portal that the guy walked us through to get here into the market area. We could take the portal back to the ladies' ward and walk from there.
Sometimes portals exist that are two-way, but not always. In fact, not often.
Well, we'll just double check that, and then we can probably find, if we really need to, we can find someone else again. Unless we're okay with walking.
I will concede to you all on the best way to navigate. Honestly, I only really knew about walking up until however much time has passed.
I say walking is fine, but you have to get used to travel. Travel is not walking. If there's a thing nearby, you walk. Walking is a way of moving yourself around. But if you want to be in a different place, walking won't get you there. And the outer planes, believing will get you there. Walking helps people believe sometimes, because you believe that you're moving. You believe that you're going to the place that you think you're going. That belief is pretty strong. If you also believe like the place you're headed towards, that's even more strong. You'll get there.
So we want to believe in wanton destruction.
I mean, that's what we're aiming for by going there. It seems like we're on the right track.
Good. Then you're in a great mindset. So we should get there easily. Let's try and find a portal that will cut the cost or cut the time down significantly. When traversing infinite spaces, belief can take you there very, very fast, but portals are better, especially if your belief is weak.
Last time you did this, you hired a tout to find a portal for you. So you guys can, if you want to hire a tout, you can make a resources check to see if you can dig up enough coin from your pockets to pay a tout to find a portal for you. Alternatively, if you have friends in this area of the city, a connections check might pull up somebody local for those of you who are local to this area. Additionally, if you want to just try to find the portal you came in on, like I said, this place is a maze, but an exploration check coupled with probably exploration plus perception, I think, would actually make the most sense. You might be able to find your way back to the portal that you took.
The best I could do is try to make that roll, but I don't think I'll be helped otherwise.
I might be able to know a guy that
like I can try to backtrack.
A shady guy that might be able to help us find a portal on the underside.
All right, everybody, make your attempts, and yeah, we'll see how everybody does.
I'm not gonna assist. I'm just gonna take some notes down. I've been taking notes the entire time while looking mostly at Max.
Okay.
And observing Max. And I'm gonna look at Max. I'm gonna say, why don't you find us the portal?
And I go, that's a really good idea. And then I set up
isn't it?
I set up my bag like on somewhere on Tice's character, preferably where either he doesn't notice or it's out of the way, and then I climb inside so I can replenish my alchemy stock. So it's effectively not helping.
I say, interesting, and start furiously taking.
Chris, the other chaos tech in the party seems to have a bag of holding that he just crawled inside of after handing it to a godsman that's been walking around with you guys.
I did not do well backtracking. So I assume I am lost now. No, I didn't roll 0, but still.
Okay, Tice is triggering his I know a guy talent. Okay. All right. Ooh, what was your roll, Chris?
I am looking for my friend with the most fun way to get there. I don't believe in portals. No, not exactly true. Everyone believes in portals, and it's kind of why they work. But there's a better way to get there.
The sewers can be fun, especially because the sewers under the ladies' ward have some interesting surprises.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know what that means at all.
The closer you get to the sewers under the Bone Spire, the more interesting the surprises get.
Your friend told you, right? Belief dictates travel. Everyone forgets about the other ways because everyone's stuck believing in the portals. The portals have expenses. They're hard to find. It's iffy. We just take the sewers. They go everywhere. And no one travels there. There's no traffic.
Tice, you do know a guy that runs a flying carpet taxi service in this area. He'd probably give you a discount. It wouldn't be free, but it'd be a discount.
Guys, would you like to go on a magic carpet ride?
Your choices are magic carpet, sewers, or continue being lost. So those are the 3 rolls that have happened so far.
I'm never lost. I just constantly wander.
I mean, the carpet sounds like the most convenient. Is it fast? Faster than walking?
World.
I don't know. Do you trust me? Do you trust me?
It can show you the world.
Chris, if you can convince them to go on the sewers, there's a raft ride involved. And you'll only have to fight a couple of mantis gators along the way.
I mean, I support alternative transport. So, yeah, what's the...
What's the what?
Well, you got to pay the discount. You got that covered. He says he's going to charge us. The sewers are still free.
But the sewers won't kill us. I meant the
Exactly.
magic carpet. I meant no, the magic carpet won't kill us. The sewers will.
No. See, I'm telling you, embrace the chaos. The sewers won't kill.
I shrug and say, I've never been to the sewers. I don't really want to go in the sewers. I've never really had the thought that maybe I should visit them. But I mean, if the sewers are a faster way to get places, and I don't believe you for one moment that they are. But you know what? I'll go with you to the sewers. And I then look into my notepad and begin furiously taking notes.
If we don't have the money for the carpet ride, then and the sewers are faster than walking, although it sounds like we're just walking through sewers now instead of up here. I'm not really sure I catch the speed increase. But if you say it's faster in the sewers, then maybe we take the sewer.
Just
I
remember,
don't think we have any more money for the. Not to mention we need to hold on to everything we can if we're supposed to get weapons, right?
I say I am willing to believe that it's faster in the sewers.
Just remember, you're putting your trust in a chaos tech.
I don't know what that means.
Welcome to the club.
I'm still in character.
It means everything and nothing. Does that clear things up?
More than him, yes. I'm trying to point at Tice. I am pointing him on my screen.
The entrance to the sewers has a very nicely made city plaque that says sewer entrance for servicing, and then in like a paint that seems to be painted after the word servicing is the phrase "and suicide. Nice knowing you." Ed, you feel a sensation coming from the sewers that feels like home.
Good. Well, this is pleasant and disturbing at the same.
Do I understand the writing? Is it like in a common language? I'm just kind of curious for me.
Yeah, it is in a common language. It's really strange. For some reason, that they seem to have written things in a language that you already know.
I assume this sign is magic. But I can read it, and I feel like you're all lying to me. But again, if this is still the fastest way.
Darkness quickly closes around those of you who don't have dark vision, which I think is all of you, except Max, you need to randomly roll to see which race you are. So I don't think we did that last time you came through the portal.
I'm trying to remember what I was last time.
In Asgard, you were an Arcadian. Or on the World's Tree, you were an Arcadian. Type of Asimar.
Yeah. We went through another portal.
I thought there was a dwarf. No, he was. Wasn't he?
Dark vision. The dwarf.
No, he was like a beautiful god dude. He was a beautiful blonde something in the. I don't remember what that was, but it was like something.
It's an Arcadian Asimar. Oh, I guess.
Well, this is.
I guess I should roll for you or something.
Well,
this is complicated.
10 successes. I don't know if that. Is it a 10?
I can see in the earth, but I can't see in the dark.
What's
You rolled a 2. What's number 2 for you, Max?
Elf.
Oh, cool. You have dark vision. Lucky you.
Except for I'm in a bag. I guess I could get out of the bag. How many taxes did I get back?
I mean, you just got in there.
If you stay in there for this exciting adventure full of random chaotic things, then you can recover attacks. If you come out of your bag and stop fiddling with your potions, then you can enjoy whatever is about to happen.
Does he change? He doesn't change going into the bag or coming out of it? Isn't that a dimensional jump?
No.
Are you going to avoid that?
I'm going to avoid that because that would be too much work. Also, that would give him this cheat where he could just keep randomizing till he became what he wanted to be, which is not the point.
You have to be real careful. You have to be real careful handing me more tools because things get like crazier and more game breaking.
Yeah, I figured. I only have the only thing I have is like the keen ground movement, so I'm assuming if there's any possibility of me checking stuff going on based on movement around, I can do that. But I don't have dark vision or anything.
So there's definitely rushing water under here.
Okay, that's going to cause problems.
You can hear that right away. One of the things, though, that immediately kind of messes with your ground sense is you're used to being on a world where things are relatively flat, and this world curves upwards. at all times. So everything appears to be uphill, which is messing with your ground sense, since no matter far up that hill you walk, the ground is still down. So it's just as confusing as ever that the water seems to be flowing uphill when you arrive to it. Ed, upon putting your foot into the water, you immediately see that this is a river that is basically just rushing out of the elemental plane of water. And it's rushing at such a speed that it's actually pushing upwards, flowing uphill before calming and dripping down the other side. You can't see much further than about like 300 feet in every direction in the water.
I can see in water though. But yeah.
I'm gonna come out of the bag. What can I see? If there's anything different.
They're in a sewer underground. It's dark. There's water, but
I have dark vision.
You have dark vision, so yeah, you see rushing water. It is probably super dangerous to swim in because it's going at such an extreme speed. But if one had a raft, one could quite easily shoot up the current. Or you can all just dive in and just hope for the best.
I mean, it'll work out okay for me.
Yeah?
I mean, I always could bag cheese it, so it'll probably work for me too.
How much room you got in that bag?
I'm not sure that. I mean, can other people come in? I mean, I don't see why not. It's got a workshop in it.
It would be a horrible invasion of your privacy, of course.
Yeah.
I assume we wouldn't be in the same place, though. Unless it's seriously just the workshop.
Well, me in the workshop, but it's kind of like a plane of existence, so there might be room if more people were in there.
Only one way to find out. The question is, who's going to carry the bag?
Oh, the water ganassi. That would make the most sense.
I'll carry the bag, I say.
Technically, he's a steam ganassi.
Oh, okay.
Technically, I'm a steam ganassi. Don't assume my element.
Hey, I've been both of those things before. I'm the ultimate race.
You guys ready for this?
So does everyone pile into the bag of holding for the steam ganassi to carry up the river?
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
I'm somewhat worried about this bag.
I'm fine. I just tell everybody to either be careful or not be careful, whichever you choose, around all the potions and glass and stuff. Things will definitely get more interesting if you choose to not be careful.
All right. So everybody finds themselves, except for Ed, everybody finds themselves in a workshop where nothing is labeled, even though there are ingredients literally everywhere. Behind you, the door that seems to be like a perfectly normal door, even though just a moment ago you were crawling into a bag, does have a little bit of, like a little trickle of water come under the door as the ganassi outside takes it into the rushing river. Ed, keeping the bag safe and dry may or may not be a priority for you. I'm going to let you decide that, but if you do decide you're going to try and hold it above water, you'll be making athletic checks.
I'm going to assume that they know what they're doing and that the bag is watertight. I'll cinch it up pretty tight just to make sure that it's not leaky, but it's like a leather bag, so I'm assuming it can handle itself. And I'll just dive in and swim down.
Alrighty.
And we all drown.
Well, we won't get
so
separated
sad.
at least.
But you'll drown together.
Yeah.
It's the friends we make along the way.
The trickle of water does increase to a bit of a flow, and then it starts pouring out the sides of the doors. Max, this is your workshop. What would you like to do about this incursion of water coming through the door?
I have a large decorative crystal prison pyramid thing that I'd like everybody to help me push toward the door to hopefully block some of the water.
All right, everybody make a labor check and see if you can pile up stuff in front of the door.
How big's the door?
Well, from outside it's the opening of a backpack, but from inside it appears to be like a normal human-sized door. It appears to be made of wood. It has a brass handle.
So it would just save Rose, or would save Rose and Jack?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear you.
Would it save both people from the Titanic, or just the one selfishly?
Oh, no, just the ones that are actually trying to do anything helpful.
Just the one. Okay, so what are we doing? We're rolling what? Just labor by itself, or labor and vigor?
Labor plus vigor to try to pile things in front of the door.
Can I do labor and focus, trying to be like the one that guides it like toward the door? Plus, I know where all the stuff is.
Yeah, that's an incredibly organized thing of you to do.
It's not gonna matter.
Chaos sometimes will lean in that direction, as it leans in all directions.
I did all I could.
Meanwhile, outside, Ed, you've safely gotten past them, but you've seen some shit. I think you know what you saw.
I'm not sure what I saw.
You don't feel like you ever want to describe it to anyone. Take 3 composure. You can, of course, distribute that elsewhere if you wish. It's just a condition, not a consequence. All right, let's see. How many successes did you guys get pushing furniture around?
Dice is still rolling. But nothing. Y'all know
3.
it was vigor. You know it was vigor and labor, right? So you have to have like some vigor.
I have a vigor of 1 and labor of 0.
Jeez.
I have a vigor of 1.
I'm an accountant, not a mover. God damn it, Jim.
All right, well, it looks like that was a total of 3 successes.
Got 1 composure left, so I'm gonna let you guys out and be like, "There's nothing in the sewers, and we're never going back there."
All right, Max, you lose temporarily, of course, but you take 3 tacks to the bag itself. So some of your ingredients have gotten waterlogged. Some of your potions have been messed up and spilled around, diluted to the point where they don't do anything. But nobody drowned. Congratulations. And you emerge. You're definitely in the ladies' ward, pretty deep in, probably almost to your destination. You've come out into a sort of a little round. It looks like it used to be a park, but a house has been built in the middle of the park, and so sort of the street going around it in a circle makes it look like it's like a very fancy house. The street almost seems like a moat. The street is empty of all people. You see people going out of their way to avoid this area. And next to the house is a giant spire of what appears to be bone, standing at least like 50 feet tall. It is broken at the top. It's like somebody snapped a giant femur and then just rammed it into the ground. But by giant femur, I mean like bigger than a tree. It would take 3 of you holding hands to make a circle around it. There is also a plaque in bright polished brass that appears to have been drilled into the giant bone spire, next to what is otherwise an unassuming looking little cottage in a sort of green. You think it's like a village green with the road going around it and this huge roundabout, if it wasn't for the cottage and the small garden that is in complete disrepair, overrun by plants, vines, and a single tree bearing apples. For those of you who approach the plaque reads, "Yes, this bone came from the Tower of Secrets, and yes, we're the ones who blew it up. What you gonna do about it?"
Wow.
And there's a large demon outside. Don't talk to it.
Actually, there is not. The
Okay.
place appears to be abandoned, and there is a posting on the door that says "For sale by auction," with little tickets that you can tear off. Not a single one of which has been taken. The tickets have the time and address of the auction on them.
Well,
I'll take all the tickets.
Right on. Stepping out onto the main street, you can see that you have arrived relatively close to the armory. It towers above the other buildings down the road. It's right on the border between the ladies' ward and the lower ward. And not without reason. It's a good place for it. A place where those who are righteous can arm up before stepping into places with those who are not. Now, when we say that this place is big, it's important to understand the scale of things. Everything here is big, but this place is massive. In a city the size of an entire valley, with districts the size of cities, this building is an emperor's palace, soaring up into the air, and yet not full of the filigree and delicate crenellations that you might expect to find on an elegant fortification. It is generally boxy. It has a very large skull carved over the main door, the door of which stands just at such an enormous height that giants could tread inside without trouble. And there's a series of staircases of various sizes leading up to these huge doors. Climbing the stairs itself will be nearly like climbing a mountain. This is the armory. And
Nice.
on the way to the armory, there is a beetle. A beetle the size of a cart, standing in the street. And sitting on the beetle's shoulder is what appears to be, at first glance, a small child. Upon approaching, you realize that the beetle's just huge, and it's actually a not overly large, but still adult woman.
It's been that long, huh?
It has.
Jeez.
She is no longer a child. Although she is still dangerous.
Well, yeah.
She and the beetle ignore you. They appear to be playing a game. They are flicking stones down the street and watching what happens. From the look on her face, it seems that the beetle has become quite good at this game, and she is being quite challenged to keep pace. The rules of the game seem very aloof. It's not clear exactly what constitutes a win or a failure at first, until after some time you hear a crash and shouting, and she gives a little motion of cheer.
Gotta imagine after a while, like, the people out in front of this place would be, like, pretty fed up.
Many of those people believe that if they just keep an eye out and are careful, that the entropy will not affect them. That the tiny little pebble won't cause somebody to trip and bump into their cart, spilling their vegetables onto the ground, causing a guard to slip and frighten a horse, which runs into another cart, which overturns, knocking over a wall, which falls and knocks over a building. They totally believe they could avoid this by just being careful.
Those poor cabbages.
What crashed?
Ultimately, they took out a building.
Oh, this game is genius. You had one rock and you had a little bit of fun. Now you have lots of fun. I start throwing more of the pebbles and rocks from the building.
The people down there are a little confused until they see your faction logo. And they're like, it's already fallen over, man. You can't make it fall more. They are, of course, wrong.
No, this is a game that creates more fun.
Those who wish to play the game may engage in it and speak to Factal Riss about the game and about its nature. Otherwise, you can proceed into the armory.
Yeah, I'll speak to Factal Riss.
And she says, looking for a little chaos. But what we play is far better than just that. Come, I'll show you.
Awesome.
She picks up a pebble and hands it to you and points down a different street. Says, hey, chaos is about unpredictability, yes? But here we're looking at entropy. It's not about the inability to predict, but the ability to predict the downward spiral. So see, there's a man. You see him?
Yes?
That man forgot to tie his shoe. That's very unfortunate. And it seems that window he's walking past, it's just the right height that his head could go through it if he tripped. Can you trip him?
Yeah.
Now, this is a sort of a crisis for you, because if you do channel entropy energy, that's not really your thing as a chaos attack, but you're allowed to switch factions if you want. So you can play the game and study entropy and consider swapping over to the Doomguard as a faction, or you can play with chaos, lose the game, but yeah, walk away having maintained your standing with the chaos attacks. The choice is yours. There's no roll needed.
Wouldn't even switching like factions be chaotic? Just chaotically jumping from one faction to another.
A lot of namers go with whatever faction is fashionable within their local clique. There's, not everybody is as serious and hardcore about their factions. They call them namers for a reason. They're just faction members in name only. And those people jump back and forth all the time. It's just kind of normal.
Yeah, I'd like to imagine that like I've met them because I have like quite a bit of faction. They have quite a bit of faction. We do the meetings rather like often. So like I'll use the potion in like a crowd, like the one potion that I have, by the way, in like the nearest crowd, and try to see like what kind of entropy like that could lead into. But I mean, I'm doing it with chaos, trying to lead to like destruction.
All right, make a faction roll.
Why did that not work?
I don't know. Syntax looks correct. Uther appears to be sleeping.
Yep.
I'm on it.
He's alive.
2 successes. I'm trying to get the I'm trying to cause hysteria in the large crowd that the potion is landing in. I don't know if that's the effect, but I'm just saying that's one I was trying to get.
All right.
Whatever, random.
Yeah, so you can cause confusion in a small area. But what the confusion does is up to you. And here's your choice. You can actually cause some entropy with the confusion, as you intended to. But your intention is taxing your faction abilities. You're going to be taking an injury to your faction standing by controlling it. You're controlling it in a predictable way to cause the effect that somebody wants. So, yeah.
No, I won't do that.
All right, so they get confused, but they don't break anything.
No. Well, I look at them anyway, and I say, look, see? Chaos is always more fun. Doesn't always have to lead to entropy. I'm sure we've had this discussion many times.
Many times.
But I do know I've recently bumped into this group of fellows here, and they have come across a bit of conundrum that will help both of us cause chaos and entropy, if you would like to help.
Primes, she says. And the beetle
Yes.
turns to stare at you, Troy.
Oh, am I the only one here now? Is she still here, or did she go?
You guys are just out on the streets in front
I
of... Oh,
I just meant I know she was talking about going to the Hall of Records. I wasn't sure if she stayed with us or we had let her in that direction. I can.
Yeah, she's just been standing out in front of the Foundry playing this game with the beetle. She's... Yeah. She introduced herself, says, "My name is Riss. I used to be a Prime, too. In many ways, I still am a Prime."
If you can remember far enough back, it's not the chaos demons that are invading this world, is it?
The Prime world that you've picked this guy up in is under invasion by both Tanari and Beatazu simultaneously.
Oh, okay. So it is both. Oh, so I let him know, that situation, and that I'm sure if they wanted to, because they've done it before, to lead an incursion to that prime world and speed up entropy.
Our last incursion was in opposition to activities that the Harmonium were undertaking, external to their duties here in Sigil. But we've come to agreements since then, and as much as I would be delighted, the preservation of Prime Worlds is currently a law that, as a factual, I am agreed to. But I mean, if you ask me, I wouldn't mind a front row seat watching the demons tear the place down. Sounds like it's going to be quite the show. Rivers of fire and blood. She seems wistful as she says that. She hops down off the beetle's shoulder, landing on the ground. Where she lands, the cobblestones under her feet turn to sand. You feel a rush of wind as she walks, as that the air itself is being eaten up and turned into a vacuum as she approaches. And the world just grows dimmer as she gets near. Looking into her eyes, you see erupting volcanoes deep within them. And she says, "Don't worry, little Prime. Here, on the Great Ring, we can be anything. And the downward spiral of the world is ours to enjoy. Please, come into my humble home." And she gestures to the massive foundry, or the massive armory structure that has people just pouring in and out, some with carts carrying weapons, some in like full plate armor, as just absolute massive structure. Not as large as the Great Bazaar, but definitely commerce is happening here, and the commerce is the commerce of weapons and arms.
I'll have to be right back.
I think we're actually going to stop for the moment, so...
Oh.
Let me see. What time is it? Yeah, we've been going for about 2 hours. Do you guys want to continue a little bit further into this building, or do you guys want to stop for the night?
Oh, either way, I could use some sleep.
Yeah,
Yeah, if
probably
we wanna
gotta
call
stop
it.
soon. I got a puppy poop emergency in a minute.
Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and call it, and take care of our closing ceremonies, and pack up. I think this is a good stopping point to pick up next time.
I'll go first because, like I said, I got to deal with them.
Yeah, gotcha.
Ed was pretty amazing to be the one willing to brunt whatever horrors were in that sewer that you had to see to carry us around in a bag. Tice, for your diligent efforts to try to get us all to go to your blood city, so that somehow, in all this chaos and like stuff, you could still try to find a way to like corrupt us with blood or magic somehow. I think I'm not super great with names, especially people that aren't around all the time. So it's
Chris.
emergency. Yeah, Chris has done an amazing job continuing with the chaos in the most entertaining ways. And again, I'm terrible with names.
Assume me, Kite or Troy is fine.
Yeah,
I'll
Kite.
answer to.
I don't know. I remember Kite bet on it. It escaped me for the moment. Yeah, you're just the entire just trying to grasp everything that's going on is always entertaining. You're getting there, trust me. It's wild and crazy.
It's so authentic.
And then I gotta go. I'll catch you guys later.
I'll go. So Max for having a bag of holding again is going to end as poorly as it always does when you have something like that. Troy for being an adorable prime. And metaing it pretty well. And then just in general, this is kind of not. I'll give it to Tice, but it's basically to the entire discussion point in the early part of the session to like just basically deciding that like in the option list of running away, hiding, or trying to resurrect a dead god, you guys kind of really seem to lean heavily towards trying to resurrect a dead god. Yeah, then Chris for your cast did a bunch of new stuff, but like yeah, for reasonably playing Chaos Tech that and for playing the game that you that was actually pretty good, and just generally for adding another damned Chaos Tech to the party that I have to deal with. I was like, I'm gonna go lawful, and then we have just an army of Chaos Techs in the party.
Hey, who knows? I could end up joining the faction of order.
Yeah.
No. I honestly don't understand them yet. I might learn about factions and end up having.
So let's see. So I like to give one to Kite for close to the beginning, where you're like or temple like evacuating or staying here. You're like, do they know where my city is? Oh, they don't. Nah, I don't feel like going. This just makes everything easier. Don't have to re-brainwash my people anymore. I like to give one to our new Chaos Tech Eben for somehow convincing most of the party to, instead of going on the safe magic carpet ride, to go into the unknown sewers of doom. I like to give one to Max for his plan of we should take all our people and push them over there instead. To try to solve the problem of the whole demons invading. Like if you ever seen SpongeBob SquarePants. So there's an episode where Patrick like suggests everyone to like take the city and push it somewhere else. And I like to give one to Echelon for humbling for his whole talk about like trading lives. It's never usually a good deal, but you can trade your life for something.
All right. I'd like to get it to Ed for bringing raccoons to the World Tree.
They're totally going to be members of the Ring Givers at some point.
Yeah.
That's like totally their faction.
Was it Tice for remembering that and bringing it up and that there's a dead god that we need to bring back to life? And that's a viable option for us. Troy for I feel like taking charge in the first part and kind of keeping that whole section going in the beginning. And max it for his bag of holding that came in clutch there.
Oh, is that me? Yeah, I was really prepared in the beginning of that conversation when you were having me roll. I wasn't sure what you were having me roll for, but I was like, I have presentience, and I was like, I'm just gonna take it no matter what you do to me. I'm gonna switch the roll, so it's fine. So for let's see, for Max, that his most efficient means of travel was once again just jumping in the bag. That's fantastic. Tice for working your god back into the mix. Like, it's not done yet. It would be great for it not to be done yet, so that would be awesome for that to be a part of it. Ed for I don't know if it was meta choice, personal character choice, or what, but for just dragging the bag through the water and giving us something to do rather than you potentially not making it through the scenario. And then, yeah, Chris again for suggesting the sewers in the first place, seeing as how that was probably the worst option, but it turned out okay.
It worked out perfectly.
Yeah, it worked out really good. There's shit we didn't see. I assume is a good thing. I think that's it.
Like your Steam Ganassi friend said, there was nothing down there, and we're never going back.
Never.
Hey, Max, you got some experience points.
Yeah. How many?
I think everybody got 4 experience points from this session.
Woohoo!
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll pick up next week with your adventure into the armory and all that can occur within. And we'll also, I think, at some point, check back in with some of the other characters as well. So, yeah. Thank you, everybody. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now.